Good day all, and welcome to this program, Vivid View with EHILIZ. I am your uncle, EHILIZ. So, Vivid View,
see and do it.
The topic for discussion this morning or today is a way out of domestic violence. And domestic violence is defined as a willful intimidation, physical assault, battery, sexual assault, and other abusive behavior as a part of a systematic pattern of power and control perpetrated by one intimate partner against another. Oftentimes, we think that when we mention domestic violence, it's only when somebody hits. No, it's much more than that. And of course, as this program progresses, you'll be able to also to deduce them. Also, I want to say here repeatedly that anyone, will be you man, woman, boy, or girl, can be an abuser or a victim of domestic violence. It's not written on our forehead. But suffice me to say here very clearly that women and girls are more vulnerable because they are the weaker sex. You know, men and boys, they always, you understand what I mean? So we'll take a break now. We'll come back and introduce the guests in the house. Vivid View,
say and do it.
Vivid View.
Welcome back. The topic has already been introduced as a way out of domestic violence. With me in the studio here is no other person than Pastor and Barrister Dominic Arisco Osevengils.
Vivid View, say and do it.
Thank you so much, Pastor. You're welcome. The first question quickly says, what is your general view of this domestic violence?
Domestic violence is an evil that is happening today in our society. It is a very dangerous epidemic that is affecting the lives of individuals in a society. And domestic violence appears to be prevailing in every human society today. I call it an evil because it's an act that is done by a man against another fellow man in the society. So domestic violence, as you have rightly pointed out in your introductory statement, is a willful or deliberate intimidation, act of battery, physical assault, sexual assault, other forms of abusive behavior that is being carried out by an intimate partner who are usually domineering, who like to use control, I call it undue control and powers against another intimate partner. So it's an evil in society. I will also quickly like to add by saying that domestic violence, apart from being an evil in society, is also a sin against God Almighty himself, who is the creator of heaven and earth. If you check the book of life, Genesis chapter 1, from verse 27 to 28, the Bible says God created man in his image and likeness. And in his image and likeness created him male and female, which means he created every human to be equal. In verse 28, he said man should be fruitful.
Every human to be equal.
Yes, go and enjoy your life. Be fruitful and multiply. Just go and enjoy your life. And God now gave man dominion. This dominion was to be exercised against the fowls of in the air,
animals,
fishes in the sea, and against other creeping creatures that creeped on the earth, not against man. So when man is now using dominatory power against a fellow man. So that is a sin against God. So domestic violence is an evil in society and a sin against God. Is a thing that should be discouraged.
Thank you so much.
VIVID VIEW.
I think you actually gave a deeper, view on this same topic. Now, next question says, what are the various forms of domestic violence? Although some of them have already mentioned.
Yes, some have been mentioned from the definition of the concept of domestic violence. But we have different forms of domestic violence. It's not necessarily only on physical violence or sexual violence. We have other forms like the emotional violence and psychological violence.
Oh, yes.
If you ask me, which are even more destructive
And the physical.
as the physical and sexual violence. So these are other forms of domestic violence.
All right, that's a good one. Thank you so much. Then, are there typical detectable personality of an abuser? Is it written on the forehead? Can you get where one can know that?
He is not written. An abuser is not known from physical appearance, so to say. Because anybody can be an abuser.
Yeah.
We must understand that at any given circumstance. But however, there are some common detectable personality that is common within an abuser
Some
of
characteristics,
domestic
yeah.
violence. These are characteristics
Yes.
that they possess. One of these characteristics is these abusers, they tend to objectify their victim. That is the reason why they use so much power. They exert so much power and dominion on their victim. They look at their victim as their own personal property. Maybe in the case of a husband and wife, the man may say, she's my wife.
Yes.
Or the woman will say, he's my husband. Because anybody can be
I paid her back
an
price.
abuser, yes. The case may be, for example, between an Oga and a driver. The Oga will always look at the driver as his property, say, he's my driver. They will even look at you that want to come into whatever act of violence that they are majoring out as an intruder into what they are doing as their private life. So most of these abusers, they objectify their victim. Then again, they also tend to externalize the reason for their decision. They are ratio decidenda. They want to explain, justify, find a way to justify to justify their act. They look for where to put the blames of their acts. For example, they could tie it to stressful day. They could just come and say, because I had a bad day or had a stressful day at work, because of that they become violent, which is not too good anyway. It's not really, for me, it's not really welcome anyway.
It's not a reason at all.
It's not good enough.
Excuse.
Yeah, then again, they could also want to tie their action to their victim behavior, that their victim has behaved in a particular way, which has also prompted them to behave in a particular violent way.
Okay.
So these are some of the factors or the personality that you can that are easily detectable in the life of an abuser. Then again, they also tend to have what I call a feeling of low esteem.
Yes,
low self-esteem is there.
Yeah.
So they want to make up, they want to just show, they want to cover this inadequate. No matter how blessed they may be, no matter how successful, and no matter their status in society, this inadequate and incomplete feeling is inside them. So the best way they feel they can cover is to be domineering, to try to exercise control and power against whoever that is around them at a particular time.
Yeah, thank you so much. We have really said it all, and we'll take a break, then we'll come back, we'll continue. Vivid View.
Say and do it. VIVID VIEW.
Welcome back. We are still watching Vivid View with EHILIZ, and the topic we are dealing with is a way out of domestic violence. Our guest, Barrister Arisco, is really doing a nice job. So the fourth question, Barrister, what are the implications of domestic violence to the society?
Domestic violence has so many implications to our society today, because domestic violence actually affects every aspect of the life of the victim in question. It affects them in so many ways. a victim of a domestic violence, the effect of that violence on the victim could either last them almost their life or last them a very long time. And the consequence of this effect on them has a negative effect on society, because it's an offense that is committed against an individual, and it's individual that also make up a society. Where the individual is damaged, you can also imagine that in a large extent, the society will also be damaged. Now, a victim of a domestic violence could resort to alcohol, could resort to alcohol and smoking, drugs, and which also have a very negative effect on our society. Then a victim of domestic violence will probably, in the case of a rape, could not have any feeling of esteem again, could see herself to be worthless for any man, not to be good enough to be a housewife to anybody.
And even hate men generally self.
She could hate men, that's one of it.
Yeah.
And again, she could not also become a prostitute. She has only to live for. She felt that her pride had been violated, and because of that, she could begin to do so many negative things, so many behaviors that can play negatively on the society. Yeah. Then also, a case of maybe a father and a son. A father who is always violating the child, who doesn't believe anything good can come out from the life of the child. The child morals have been destroyed.
Of course.
And the child will not see anything good about his life again. And that child could easily become an armed robber, as the case may be. Join bad gangs, join bad groups, because as far as the child is concerned, the father does not believe in him. He has been so violated, so he has no reason to live for. So any other negative things can play out. So domestic violence really have a very tough negative impact in our society. I
also want to add that domestic violence, to one of the really bad impact in society is some of our young girls who say, if this is how marriage is, I will not marry. When it comes to husband and wife, mostly,
yes.
I will not get married if this is what marriage is all about. Yes. So you can imagine where young girls are already making such decisions because of what they see. Either their parents are also violating their mother and they are witnessing it, or they have heard in the street stories about this. They will not be scared of going to fear of the unknown. They will not be scared. I will not take part in this. So that is part of the influence, bad influence in the society.
Vivid View.
The other question is, how can court of law, you are a barrister, and other enforcement agencies mitigate this problem?
The court of law, the law enforcement agencies, they are not doing badly as far as the fight against domestic violence is concerned. The constitution of the land make an extensive provision for the fundamental human right of any citizen. And if you look at all these cases of domestic violence, it borders more on the fundamental human rights of the people. If you look at section 33 down to section 45 of the 1999 Constitution, it makes a very extensive provision of a fundamental human right of a person. So these laws are there. So where a right of a
person... Are they being enforced?
No, where the right of a person has been violated, it's now left for the person to say it out, to talk about it. If you go to court to go and pursue your right, the court is always there to ensure that justice is done at any time. But when you don't go, you might feel that the court is doing nothing about it. So the courts are there, the laws are there, all these frameworks are there to protect the rights of people.
I have to say this because I'm aware, and I'm aware of what I'm trying to say, that sometimes a wife will run to the police. My husband had just beaten my brother. The police said, go, he's home, some drug go and reconcile it at home. It's family issue. And they will not give serious attention to it.
That could go into the attitude in which the cases of domestic violence are being conducted. It doesn't mean that the laws of the land or the court are not there to protect the victims.
Programs
like this can also help up, so that police shouldn't be treating the cases of domestic violence with velocity.
And woman is dying.
To treat it with more with more.
Case of boyfriend and girlfriend. They're not even married. They're just friends.
Yes.
You know, the definition says intimate.
Yes.
Not boyfriend and girlfriend though. And you're already hitting your girl. And
but basically.
And when you get around and say, bro, now you see, look kind of a thing. So.
No, aside the attitude, some examples or attitude of police officers on the way and manner they conduct it.
Yes,
it's not still enough to just generalize. The law enforcement agencies are there to ensure that the laws of the laws are protected.
No, I'm not denying that.
Yes, then our laws are there to protect the lives of the citizens. If you take the case of sexual assault, for example, the criminal code provides for that.
Yes.
For rape cases. Now, where somebody has been raped, and the person goes to take the abuser, so to say, to court, then the court is even the punishment for rape cases is life imprisonment. Attempted rape is 14 years imprisonment. So these laws are there to protect victims. Just that often a time, there are so many factors that is even militating against it. A particular person who is facing a rape challenge, because of stigma, may not even want to talk about it. So just make it, and when you are silent on that matter, it means you have consented to whatever you have suffered on that matter. So after that, the laws and the court, other agencies, they are there to ensure that the rights of people are protected.
So what I can deduce what you're saying now is that the victim should always like to speak out.
They shouldn't sleep over their rights. They shouldn't be quiet about it. They should take steps to go about it. And the law is there to help them.
Thank you so much. Okay.
VIVID VIEW.
Then the last question before we allow the audience to ask their question is, what is the way out now of this nightmare, domestic violence?
If you ask me, because I'm a pastor, I will tell you one of the way out is prayer. Victim of domestic violence, I advise them to pray. The Bible said in Psalm 65 verse 2 that, oh God, answer prayers. Unto thee shall all flesh come. So God answers prayers, prayer works. When they pray over whether their husband or their boss or whoever that is measuring out the violence to them, God can also help to change the persons from becoming violent. That is number one way out that I see. Then also, number two, there is what I call why of any action. W-H-Y. Why. So when a man is violent, because if you look at the cases of domestic violence very carefully, a particular person that is violent at home may not be violent outside. So if you ask me, as far as I'm concerned, there's a reason that makes the person to become violent at home. So the why should also be looked into, because changes begin from person that needs a change. If maybe the why can be controlled, when you now see maybe in the case of a husband and a wife, you see that whenever you go in a particular way, look at the violence that is measured to you by your husband, then you also try to avoid it. And look into the why. Once you can solve the why, then the violence to a large extent can be controlled. Then also our court, as I mentioned before now, the police should treat cases of domestic violence more seriously. They shouldn't just look at it because it's domestic violence. When a case comes before them, they just throw it away. No, because somebody's right is being violated here. They have to look into it very, very seriously. Then the court also should not be sentimental in meting out the punishment that has to do with a particular abuser, so as to deter others from from not committing it. And
okay, thank you so much. For me, my own way, I shared a way out now. This is EHILIZ opinion. I shared it into two places, to the abuser and to the victim. Now to the abuser, I said, first and foremost, have the fear of God. Good. And then let empathy come to play. Put yourself in the place of whom you are abusing. If you are the one, how are you going to feel? Believe in yourself and do away with inferiority complex, as you mentioned before, low self-esteem. Have a good mentor and keep good company. Look onto people that their marriage has lasted for some time, or their relationship has lasted for quite a number of time. Look onto them as your mentor. Then keep good friends. Not friends that say, but if it's what I do with my wife today. Now you may not even get into his wife. And then you just work with that. Or when they meet in your meeting place, maybe in a bar, you start exchanging words like that, or it's a lie. You didn't beat the wife. So you that listen and go and start beating your wife, I don't think you are wise enough. Respect, honor, and value your partner. As you that is abusing, you have to respect, value your wife. You saw that girl before you pick her. You saw other girls before you choose the other girl to be your girlfriend or whoever. So respect and value your partner. Love and show mercy and compassion. These are, like I said earlier, Ehiliz's way out of violence. Then learn, develop and practice patience. Be patient with your partner. Over time, he or she might change. Then to the victim, I say, pray fervently. Avoid situations that can trigger anger. If you know what to do that triggers your abuser to always abuse, you try as much as you can to avoid it. Use right words at the right time. You know, we women now talk, we know how to talk very well. So let's also control that so that the hitting will not be there. Show some respect, as this is reciprocal. As the victim, show respect to whoever is the abuser, because I've equally said he should also respect you. Respect reciprocal. It's a give and take issue. Have a good confidant, because tackling the problem sometime may yield good results. Like we said, some of them that are victims, they won't like to speak out. Yes. They just keep to themselves. And when you keep to yourself, nobody knows that you're suffering, and you're just dying in silence. But if you can confide to one or two persons, this is what happened. For me, especially your pastor can give a helping hand. If you don't want your parents to know about it, confide in someone, and then there'll be solution. These are my own, because they say a stitch in time saves nine. And if you speak out, like maybe one or two advice from your head of the church or from your friends or whoever reported to cool, allow that person not to continue in violating you. But when you keep quiet, you suffer it. So we'll take a break now. Come back to take questions from the audience. Vivid View.
Say and do it.
Vivid View.
My name is Henry, and my question goes, like, in the society of Nigeria today, the poor individuals in this country, they don't get justice from the law enforcement agencies. Like when you are being abused and you went to a police station to tender or render the case to them, and what all they can do is tell you, okay, how did it happen, what went wrong, and after saying that, they'll say, okay, give us your address, we'll come and visit you and see what we can do. And when you get back, the same things keep repeating itself. How can that individual help him or herself out of this domestic violence of a thing? If the law doesn't help the individual, how can the individual help himself?
My name is Sani. From worldwide analysis, it is evident that the most occurred domestic violence is sexual harassment. So what are the societal precautions that can be put in place to encapsulate this issue?
I am Adebi Tomiwa. My question is, why is victim of domestic violence remain in abusive relationship?
Vivid View.
Welcome back. You are still watching Vivid View with Ehiliz, and we'll be treating a way out of violence. Now, the question has been asked from the audience. I direct them to our guests to provide good answers. Barrister, please, questions.
Okay. With regard that the law appears to be too weak to hold the rich, and to, as a result, victims of domestic violence, they don't seem to always get justice. How can they get justice? They cannot still get justice outside the law. No matter our perception about the law of the land, they can't take the laws into their hand, and they cannot still get justice into their hand. So my advice to such victim is to continue to pursue their right. When you go to a police station, for example, to report any case of domestic violence, and it appears that you're not taken serious for any reason whatsoever, maybe because of the personality of the abuser, that shouldn't discourage you from pursuing your right. The law, we must understand that this same law has no respecter of person. You must learn how to continue to pursue your right until justice is achieved. And you can do so by meeting counselors. The NGOs are there. Then the NGOs are there. Counselors are there. Human rights activists are there. There are people that you bring cases of domestic violence before. They will take it even more than how you want to ordinarily pursue it on your own. So I still want to advise and encourage that any persons that have found himself in that situation should not relent. The fact that the particular officer is not understanding you doesn't mean that you cannot be heard. You keep pressing.
Keep pressing. I think I love that last word. Keep pressing. Do not relent. If because you don't have money, police didn't listen to you, please look for plan B. Plan B, there's so many ways to kill a rat. And you have already mentioned, like going to these activists or counselors, they were able to be your voice now. That's how it is, instead of you now relaxing. So please, take the second question.
The second question has to do with how rape cases can be controlled in a society, if I got the question rightly. What I will still say as regard to that question is to still pursue your right through the angle of the law. Many of us are ignorant of the law. It is true that most cases of domestic violence appear to be sexual assault, cases of rape.
Yes.
So how do we now control it? And the laws of the land has made a very extensive provision to cover the cases of rape. For example, section 357, 358, and 359 of the Criminal Code deals with cases of rape, which spells out what rape is all about and the punishment that goes with rape. For the instance of, for the case of rape, I've mentioned that before in this program,
Yes.
is life imprisonment. You can see how the law even frown at it. So by the time you know how to, a victim of rape, know how to pursue his case in the law court, no matter the financial implications and the time that is involved, and get justice, it will serve a way of deterring other society from committing this act of rape. Because the reason why it appears to always be happening is because people have not we have not really invoked the law against the abusers of domestic violence. By the time the law is invoked upon them, where against them, where somebody go to life imprisonment because he's found wanting of the offense of rape, it will make his neighbor to sit up, to know that this is a very serious matter, a thing that can, you know, take the whole of your life from you.
It's still bordered on implementation and enforcement of law. It's still bordered on that.
Yes, there, even section, even the case of attempted rape, that you have attempted it at all, the law says, when upon conviction, you go in for 14 years imprisonment. You can see how serious it is. You can see how the law have actually helped to ensure that cases of rape is being controlled in a society.
But then again, let me enforce it so that
I will use this video also to talk to the court, the judges out there. When a case of rape comes before your case, you should treat, the case should be treated with more passion.
Exactly.
The punishment that is made for you should be meted out fully. You shouldn't look at it because of any person that is involved. Then I want to also say this to it, because it appears that this is sexual cases that is predominant in domestic violence. My advice to the ladies is to be dressing decently. They should not be dressing in a manner that look rapeable, if I should use that word. Which should dress decently in a manner that they will not be sexually harassed. Because most ladies dress in a manner that make them prompt to
that very inviting.
It's so inviting. And there are some men out there who cannot resist some of these things that they display. So since they are mostly the victims of rape cases, my advice is that they should be dressing well. We should learn to dress well in our society. It will also help in eradicating.
VIVID VIEW.
Yeah, but it's, in as much as I agree with you that indecent dressing may trigger this rape, but I do not want this abuser to take that as an excuse, because they're always having excuses for whatever action they perpetrated or they even carry out. Because if five are being raped, are you telling me because the way they also dress? So I think something is wrong upstairs for the abusers, those that are raping people. Something really wrong. What about the fact they rape? Are you trying to say 3 years old girl, 7 years old girl is the rape because of the way you dress? So they should not really hide on that. But I agree with you that females, not only girls and women, should really dress appropriately. I agree with you. But they should not hide on that to do evil. Please, next question.
Okay. With regard to the last question, how white victim of domestic violence remain in an abusive relationship.
Very important. Very intelligent question. Yes.
Yeah, it's dicing. It's actually dicing. It's dicing in the sense that there's a saying that says spectators always play a better football all over the world. You know, it's always easy to say what is the person still doing in the relationship. Won't he live there? He won't die put, where things like that.
Yes.
And so you can't appreciate it from that angle alone. Because if you don't understand the position of this victim themselves, you can easily cast on them what we call unfair blame.
Yeah.
Now, there are so many reasons that will make a particular person to remain a victim to remain in an abusive relationship. Now, number one, don't forget that from our explanation on what domestic violence is all about, we say it's an action that is committed against an intimate partner to another intimate partner. So don't forget that intimacy there. This is two people, there's something that brought them together. Something brought them together, something made them to be very, very close. So if I take a case of a husband and wife that I appear to have always cited, a man and a woman who came together because of love, for example, maybe the man is not violent or the woman is not violent. That love is still there. It's a soft spot. And it's this soft spot that the abusers take undue advantage of. Because your partner loved you. Because you know that he will not want to take things out of proportion. You are always taking your own out of proportion. So these are one of the reasons why victims remain in an abusive relationship. Then also there are also other reasons like what I call lack of a choice. There are people that really do not have a choice. Even though they are not enjoying what is happening to them. An orphan who find himself to be living in with a particular family, and it appears that the member from that family is now violent against the orphan. This orphan has no other place to go, has no house to go, has nowhere to go, does not know how to live his life. So if the person may just decide to flow with it, even though the person is not enjoying it. So these are some other factors that make somebody to remain in an abusive relationship. Then there's also what I call a lack of financial willpower. Where you don't have money, you don't have anything of your own. You can't make any decision for yourself.
It depends only on the abuser.
When the victim depends on the abuser for their own keep for money to have a good life. Visually, for everything that they do is the abuser that gives them the money. The abuser take undue advantage of that. They're going to abuse the person, and even though the person does not actually like it, he has no option. He will remain there. Then also, there is a case of what we call the fear of judgment and stigmatization on the part of the victim that makes them to just want to remain in it. For example, the case of a rape. It is true that rape is a sexually offense that have been committed against the victim. Now, by the time we are all saying that the victim should cry out, and eventually cry out, who bears the stigma? It's not the same person that has been raped that bears the stigma. So because of all these factors, some persons want to just remain in an abusive relationship even though they don't really have a way. Then again, I want to ask this as a pastor. Today, our churches or religion houses, we teach against divorce. In the case of a husband and a wife, where the belief and their faith is against divorce, and cases of domestic violence appear to be existing in that relationship, and now the church or the religion forbid divorce. You see that they cope with it. So I think also that we should focus on teaching on how domestic violence cases can be reduced instead of also teaching more on teaching more against the parties of divorce. So if you look at all these factors that are itemized, they are the reasons why a particular victim may want to not decided ordinarily to remain in an abusive relationship, even though he's not enjoying it.
VIVID View.
Well, thank you, Barrister. You have really said it all. Society really contributes so much to it, and religion. You know, both Christian, both Muslim. You know, what people say, and shame too. Out of shame, how can I say that I've divorced my husband or I've divorced my wife? And then they will remain like that. But the only thing is that the danger in it, when you decide to remain in that, is that it may take your life. We have cases of that now. The one that young girl that works in the bank that was just violated, and she was having these bruises. You know, this was really physical assault now. She will have to go to office, they will ask her, what happened? So I just slept in my house and fell. Was trying to covering for the husband. Eventually, her head entered. So that's one of the things. So if you cover to so much, well, I want to leave it for me to say that I think the ball is in your hands. You that is a victim to know whether you keep yourself or you cry out for help. Well, Barrister, please, what's your final words?
Yeah, my final word to the audience is that we should change. Both an abuser in abusive relationship and a victim of abusive relationship, we should look into the different things that is triggering this act of violence, and we should make amends in our respective ways. Thank you.
Well, that is true. My own way of concluding, I would say that domestic violence is an epidemic affecting individuals in every community, regardless of age, economic status, sexual orientation, gender, race, whether you're Igbo or black, religion, or even nationality. It's like somebody asked questions, say it's a global issue. So we are saying here that all we can do with the little, solution I provided before, I mentioned earlier, is let's see how we can avoid them. Because I know if we try, both the abuser and the victim, if we try, God will help us. That is it, because it's really a big problem. You see, like I've just said, now, it doesn't matter whether you have money, doesn't matter your education background. You see professors, you see bishops all violating their wives and beating their all those stuff. This way, something is only when you physical abuse. No, it's not only that. It's not only when you block somebody, like we throughout this study that were revealed to us. But please, let us do something properly. And that's the essence of this. We are the talking and the doing people. As youths, learn now. Those of you who are not yet married, don't think that the violence is the best. Even if you came from a home where your parents violate your mother, your father violate your mother, don't think that's the way of life. When you also grow up as a boy, you also start hitting. It's not it. They have made mistake. Try and correct that mistake. Because some people, their environment affects them, and they think that is how it's supposed to be. Yes. So with this, I want to invite Marvina to give her presentation to our guest that has done so well in this program, Barrister Arisco and Dominic. And also to thank our crew members. I don't always remember to thank them, because without them, this program will not be, where it is and so on. They have really been contributing. And of course, our audience and our supporters, by way of, helping us to make sure that this program remains. I want to thank you. TDS Services Limited, Orange Insurance Brokers Limited, and the Orange Public Limited. That God continue to bless you, and thank you for joining us. So I also invite the comedian MC90s to sign up this program. All right, so keep watching this program, same time, same station. VIVID View, say and do it.
VIVID View. VIVID View.
My name is MC90s, the son of the king of rhyme, of course the captain of comedy. It's good to be here. Man of God.
God bless you.
The Lord will bless you.
God bless you.
You are going places. But you need transport fare. Leave the aside, or you are going higher. But you need a ladder. Every prayer be prayer point. People don't know. And they tell people, say, when they tell you, say you are going places, now you go ask the pastor where. Who is laughing? I did ask you, supposed to say amen. And I even they expect correct amen. Calabar people, they say amen. Now Calabar may be amen. Who be that Calabar man we talk say amen? Because again, how will they take identify different tribe when they event, when will they anchor event? Imagine if I call Igbo, I know say Yoruba they pull out. But many of them I know they hear their voice. Now only me they know. If I say Igbo Kweno, hey. You see, now people know, Yoruba people they suspend their talk. They don't want to make this guy catch them. But again, how they take know them. Igbo Kweno. Yeah. You don't say now, hey. But when you ask for up there say Igbo Kweno, you go they say Yoruba go they pull out. Instead of hey, they go say yeah. Now you go ask say when did they pay you? Igbo Kweno not be yeah. Even for Edo people who know say my wife will be Edo. I tell you, I say Oba talk me when Yoruba scatter ground, I don't know when I begin say hey, silent. Oba talk me. Now, wait. He said, God will bless you. Your firstborn will resemble your landlord. You see, when I say Oba talk, you're supposed to say he said. But when you hear Yoruba, you go know say this one are real typical Yoruba. Oba talk, you go hear he share. He share now work. Leave them for their own aspect. Because he don't look na dog name. Any dog we no get name, now they call bingo now. All right. When I ask Yoruba, say, when I see what they happen for Tana, the pastor pray for prayer. Say you no even hear that way. He said, "Wawa gbàdúrà wa sọ fún Ọlọ́run. Olúwa má jẹ́ kí rogun àsáré pé." The guy when they beside me, they say, "Olúwa má jẹ́ rogun." I say, "No be your prayer, because the guy na pure water they sell for express." Now in prayer be that prayer. They say, "Olúwa má jẹ́ rogun àsáré pé." Another guy when they beside me by the left hand side, they pray another prayer point. They say, "Wawa gbàdúrà, Olúwa má jẹ́ káyé orí dì mí." He dey pray and the guy sag. I don't know when he become in prayer point. But may God help us for this country. You know, we're still there here, but the issue where my mind now be saying, I tell you, say, nothing they move you because you are on vivid view. My name still remains MC 90.